Uh yeah, I think that's what's going to be the play. Like we'll have to see because Hex will be obviously worth a lot more at that time, but like there could be crashes and stuff. But I think the real thing is like, dude, like you're just there's once we get to that closer to parity, and it's like at that point it's almost stupid to just go buy Hedron on the market. Like it's not, but like the better play is, well, just go make a giant stake, make it for 15 years, and then just live off your daily mintable Hedron. Yeah, that's why I'm like so pro Hedron, because then it promotes people not to sell their hex over time. Once I know there's a lot of people with 10x bonuses and stuff, and there's always going to be inflation of Hedron coming into the system, but there's always going to be a new auction where there's somebody else who wants to buy one of those HSIs, and the only currency is Hedron. So, like, yeah. So I think that living off your stakes because they earn you daily yield in Hedron is going to be more and more common rather than people doing a 30-day stake and living off the hex interest and selling that hex on the market. I see a world where they like go, oh, okay, well, like I'll just stake longer and then just sell the Hedron on a daily basis. That's what I would do. I know there's a lot of people looking to recycle and get the Icosa. And now that might be the play as well, because, if you sell that HSI for Icosa, you can also earn Hedron with Icosa. So, yeah, when you stake it in the Icosa pool. So it's like one of those weird things where it's like we'll have to see what the better play is. I don't know near term, but I know eventually the Icosa pool will get very diluted. It will get the payouts in it probably in terms of Hedron won't be insane. I don't think it's that amazing right now. Um, it really depends. Um, but like I really think the end game here is just like, oh, there's not enough Hedron. Icosa pool isn't paying up enough. And so, like, if you want a whole bunch of Hedron, well, you got to buy Hex, wrap it for 15 years, and then that's how you earn the Hedron. Yeah, for a good price. If you're paying less than 2 times minimum bid, that's probably optimal. That'd probably be the best play, and that's why I'm hoarding a whole bunch of Hedron right now, because 500 T shares are not affordable to me at all. I cannot afford 500 T shares. What is that cup? Like, that's a lot of money. I don't even know how much that is, but it's a lot. But now 500 T shares, that's obtainable if you have a lot of Hedron. Like you move up a big rank. I think you'll like no matter what like class you're in, 500 T shares basically bumps you to the next animal.
Hey, Watson, did you ever get a chance to watch that video from Cryptographics about Hedron versus Icosa? and like
Oh
the
no,
relation to
I
the
fucking
t-shirts.
forgot. I was so drunk that night. I'm sorry. Did you send me a link? Did you or
Uh,
let me see.
no, I haven't sent you a link, but I can. But I would check it out because like you, you also have to think like your Icosa now is worth more t-shirts in the future. So like just as like you're kind of baking in the price of the current t-shares with Hedron, right? Like your
Mhm.
Icosa t-shares actually grow in the future. So another way to stack t-shares is via Icosa. That's what I'm saying. Like
I
even if you just had like 1,000 Icosa now, that could be worth like in a few years, like I don't know, 50, 60 t-shirts possibly. He actually has a spreadsheet that maps it out, and it's interesting.
see one thing that I call into question with that is like let's say all these HSIs are bought and then resold to the Icosa contract. A lot of Hedron gets burnt, but then like a whole bunch of Icosa gets minted.
Yeah,
And like
yeah, it's assuming it holds its ceiling price. Um, but if it loses it, then yeah, it's it's
I think Icosa could lose its ceiling price and still be a really good value.
well, I'm worried that if Icosa loses its ceiling price, like that could be like couldn't that drag the system down? Because then isn't Icosa like this kind of weight on Hex and
Not
Hedron?
really a weight. I don't think it's a weight in that case.
Well, if Icosa dumps like Hart's law, it's paired to Hex and Hedron, then it's pulling those assets down with it, right?
Right, but you could also have the other rise. Like I I don't know. Like I understand what like what you're saying with Hart's law, but like maybe I'm the one who's underestimating the value of Icosa here. I do see an Icosa basically being in a hyperinflation stage right now. I mean, I'm looking at my stakes and like I've only served like less than a month on most of them, and like I'm earning insane yield in the Icosa pool. Like I know it's for right now, but um, like dude, I've like earned almost 10% interest in less than a month in terms of
Yeah.
Icosa.
If you chart it out though with the t-shirt price, with the Hex share price, it gets exponentially harder to mint Icosa because it because it's tied to the share price. So as the share price gets more expensive, like you're minting less Icosa, and that's pretty much every day.
Mhm. I mean, like, dude,
Which he,
I hope all of it keeps its ceiling prices and then just everything goes to the moon. I'd like to see $100 Icosa. You know, my little wallet of 1,000 Icosa here. Like that that sounds pretty fucking nice. 100 grand plus interest. Like sounds dope. I just don't know if I mean I would
well,
prefer it.
yeah, if you take a look at cryptographics calculations, it's pretty insane the price Icosa goes to. Like it's in the thousands, and yeah, I mean that's that's just a calculation from the Hex share price as it rises. Um, so it's totally possible. Like the math is there, right? It's just like
Right.
it's just right. It's a question: does it hold its ceiling price?
You know, like right now, like so the reason that I think that we're definitely holding the price right now is because why would you sell your Icosa? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would you take a HSI stake, sell it to the Icosa contract, and then sell it for dollars? It doesn't make sense. If you are buying Icosa right now, you're doing it to stake it, and like, because if you're selling it, it makes you lose money, from what I understand right now. and like after gas fees and everything like that. So like, and then after I think it's like $400. It was like 400 Icosa or something. Like you're locked up for 6 months. Like you're literally locked out. Like you can't do anything. So it's like, and all the inflation isn't hitting the market yet. So like I think that's why we're holding the ceiling price so hard. But like let's say that everybody end stakes in 6 months and then everybody sells their interest. Well, I would assume then that the ceiling price would probably lose peg. But then that also does create an opportunity for you to take advantage of that pool.
Yeah, that's the thing. Whenever it loses peg, people like they all jump into arbitraging. That's the theory. That's the game theory, right?
Right.
Like then you're just always buying Icosa instead of Hex, and instead of Hex and making it an HSI, right?
Right.
Because you're getting a cheaper deal. So there's always interest to arbitrage, I guess. Because you're essentially getting the Hex. Yeah. For the same dollar. I really like this.
I'm really like I think that Hedron right now is the play. I did make sure to throw some extra money into my Icosa stake. I reset the days and stuff. I was like, oh well, fuck it, dude. Like, let's see what happens. Um, well, we'll have to see how the Icosa pool starts paying one if and see because the if we see a lot of people always recycling their shit, uh, or recycling their stakes to the Icosa contract, maybe that I'm underestimating how well the Icosa stake pool pay out over time. Like even having a smaller percentage because he's going up so much.
Yeah, and honestly,
Eh.
the best way to play Icosa anyway is through losses, and then the second best way is through Hedron. So you have Hedron and then you're yielding Icosa. So, um,
I
yeah,
want Icosa to do amazing. Like like Watts are all dependent on that. Um, through and through. They don't even earn Hedron yield or anything. So I want Icosa to hold ceiling price. I just think that there's gonna be points where it doesn't, but that does create an entry point, and like the pool yield, we'll have to see how it's all based on network activity. So there's probably going to be points where the Icosa pool sucks, but then there's going to be points like where the other pools do better.
yeah, and it's kind of like the same thing you're doing with Hedron, right? So if Hedron reaches its ceiling price, and then there's no advantage to buying Hedron over just creating an HSI stake, then at that point, if Icosa is down, then you buy Icosa to like as basically as the proxy to your teachers, right? So maybe the two play against each other. Maybe like while one's an opportunity, the other isn't, and vice versa.
As soon as we get to 50% parity with Hedron, like you're now running into this point like where you might be better off buying Hex on the market, staking it for 15 years, or depending if Icosa at ceiling price, like instead of buying Hedron, you're just better off going in Icosa pool instead.
Yeah, the advantage of Icosa is kind of like the Hex share price. It gains in value just by holding it. Like it gains in T-shirt value just by holding it. You do that. That's really
So maybe I'm missing, like, maybe, I don't want to. I don't think I've spoken too strongly to be arrogant about it. So, but like, I might be ignorant to to the ratcheting
Yeah.
compared to share
Well,
rate.
okay. Let me put it this way. Let's say you spend $1,000 a t-shirt, right? Right now, like at best, that'll be worth 4 t-shirts. Ballpark. Like, spend $1,000 on my Icosa now. Even if that's only worth, I don't know, 2 t-shirts now, in 5 years, it could be worth 20 or 30, whatever. I'm just throwing out numbers there, but like at like the difference in the math there is that like Hedron is static in terms of t-shirt price, whereas Icosa has growth appreciation relative to t-shirt price. So
Mm, I do like. Mm, and it's weird because, like, if somebody dumps, like, having money in the Icosa pool, so you run into this game theory, okay? So let's say that we're top of bull market, all right? Icosa's at ceiling price and Hex is at $5. We made it to another, we did 100,000x. All right. I think is what it comes out to, is like $5. All right. And like, everybody starts selling their stuff. They might start selling Hex. They might start selling Icosa first. Whatever. If you're staked in the Icosa pool and you start seeing insane amounts of stakes being sold to the contract, and then they trade it for Icosa and then sell it for dollars, there's bigger payouts to the Icosa pool because all of that hedron is borrowed then. So if you're held up all the way through, I think it's going to be good to have like a stake and then the Icosa pool in perpetuity, or like always running, like always with like the biggest bonus and everything. And does the yield bonus go to the hedron too?
I think bonuses just go to Watson, right?
Well, there's a yield bonus in all the pools, but is it only for the Icosa?
Oh, yeah. If you're a if you're a shark or whatever. No, they all have them.
Yeah, but it only applies to the Icosa, or does it apply to the hedron
No,
too?
Hedron gets bonuses. It's the same as Icosa. Exactly the same.
Oh, so you do get a 15% bonus?
Yeah, if you're like a shark or whatever. Yeah. But you need to be a
Well,
shark
like,
in the Hedron pool.
so if I, so does that mean that? Are you sure about that? I'll have to ask,
Yeah,
because
because
like
I'm a creature in the Hedron pool, and then it says I have a yield bonus thing. So
right,
yeah,
but does that only apply to the Icosa, or is that also applied to the hedron? Like,
no, Hedron
because I
is the
know it
same thing.
applies to the Icosa.
Hedron,
So
yeah,
is that
Hedron's the same for
technically?
sure.
Oh, okay.
But you're earning Icosa, not Hedron.
So does that mean that some hedron is being minted during that point?
No, because your yield isn't Icosa. Your Icosa.
No, but in the
The
Icosa
Hedron,
pool you earn. So if I'm a shark,
oh,
or let's say a
I think,
whale,
yeah,
and somebody puts in 1,000,000 hex stake, and it yields 10 billion hedron, and I have 1% of the pool, does that mean I get the 1% of that hedron borrowed plus 20%?
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
So
Your
I
is
bonus
some
doesn't go into
hedron?
effect. Your bonus doesn't go into your yield bonus doesn't go into effect until when you're ending your stake. It doesn't
So
go every
technically,
day.
you are minting some additional hedron during that
no.
point.
I mean, I see what
Because
you're
if
saying.
everyone's getting a
Yeah,
yield bonus and the amount borrowed is the pool payout, and now there's bonuses, well, that means there is more hedron being
yeah,
like.
So
Does that
in
make
your
sense?
example, with your example, if somebody came in and they made a big stake like that and they left a lot of their Icosa liquid, then that would bump pretty much everyone out of whatever position that they're in, unless they are a big whale. So if you are a shark or something like that, then you're probably going to get bumped down because it's all about how much is in circulating supply. But it doesn't go into effect until you cash out, or excuse me, until you end your stake.
So it doesn't get applied. Okay, so if you want to get the yield bonus, it may be depending on, like, let's say you're a big wallet, it might be advantageous for you to basically buy some of the, like, if Icosa is a little under, to buy up because there's more on the market, and then you could get a bigger yield percentage, maybe.
Correct. Based on that logic, yes.
So if, oh, and so basically, like, if you want this yield bonus and you think that it's going to be really good, which it probably will be, it's very good for you to go and buy these HSIs now, so you get the most amount of Icosa, so that you're not like getting like knocked out of the market because you believe that these yield bonuses are going to be that big. So it might be better than like I was hearing from, I think it was like Solix, and he wasn't sure. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but like I think it was him. But we were talking, and like, do you guys think that a lot of people are going to be recycling these stakes for the Icosa?
I think a good amount of people are planning on it, but no, I don't. If I had to guess a percentage, I would say 50% yes is my guess.
That's what that poll came out to be that they did earlier. But like, what like every if half the people in the poll said that, that doesn't mean that 50% of the stakes will, because you have the poly guys and you have whales who might not play the Icosa game.
Very true. Yeah, because not only with poly, like you just mentioned the whales, like I've heard of people just who are just going to sit on the sidelines with all their hedron, not necessarily worried about Icosa or the Icosa yield. They're just going to try to buy up as much HSI stakes to get as much hex and T shares as they can get.
That was my original plan. Like, I don't want to spend 4 or 5 times over the borrowable hedron to get more Icosa so that I could earn more hedron in my Icosa stake. I don't know, like, what, I don't know. I wasn't there for like a big, like, I don't know. Do I have like I have like a pretty okay stake, but the amount of hedron I earn is pretty low.
Yeah, for
Like,
my
I'm earning.
HSI, my original plan was to buy it back, but now things have gone on. I don't know if that's what my plan's going to be because based on the amount of hedron it might cost to buy it back, is it going to be worth it? Should I just stake it, earn the Icosa? Or another thing I've heard people possibly talking about is swapping their hedron to Icosa um, before the HSI buyback date, so that way they can get a bonus or a boost in their Icosa, not only the Icosa yield, but also the potential hedron yield for people that will be selling their HSI back to the contract. So I
Mm.
don't know what play I'm doing yet. I don't know if I'm going to buy mine back yet, or what, because I don't, because I definitely know that I don't want to pay. I don't want to get rid of my hedron to overpay just to get this potential
Yeah.
HSI back.
If you're telling me like it's 2 to 3x, okay, I'll buy one. All right. But like as soon as we go over that, I'm like, dude, you're overspending by an insane amount. Like I think even 3 times over minimum bid is like a little, like if you're playing the long-term parity game, but I would still do it. Right? Like I wouldn't do it my entire stack, but I think there's gonna be points where the hedron's so like rare that like you're gonna be able to get things near minimum bid or 2x minimum bid.
Yeah, and you're hoping that a bunch of whales or maybe a couple guys or the poly, you don't know what they're going to be going after, or somebody's just going to go in and just try to mark up a bunch of all of them and just put in the minimum bid for the stakes, and then you don't want to. Another thing is, do you want to get in a bidding war, and who are you getting in a bidding war with? How much is it worth it to spend your gas on those bidding wars and stuff like that as well? So
Oh yeah, and now we have these fucking Zen dudes fucking clogging up the chain over nothing. Yeah. I paid $15 for a swap the other day and I was like, what the fuck is this?
seriously, I was looking at swapping some Icosa or hedron today actually, and freaking it was a $12-13 swap, and I was just like, this is ridiculous.
And I'm assuming that this is going to be like I imagine this isn't going to be cheap. If you put in a couple bids, I mean, does like a $10 bid sound like reasonable? Like it could go higher because everyone's putting in bids. There's 5,000 stakes. There could be some bots out there. Like it could be $20-$30 to do a bid.
Yeah, and then another thing is, once it comes down to the timer, the countdown timer, what's it going to be like then? How congested is the system? What's the gas going to look like then? If you're not the person that has the highest bid and you're trying to become the highest bid, like, is it worth to spend that gas, or is it just worth to buy Hex, Hedron, Icosa on the open market? I guess whichever yield you're looking for.
I like those poly guys. I'm not going to participate, but I like what they're doing. Oh, you want to lock up more hedron for a longer period of time? Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a positive for the system. I was listening to the spaces last night. Haven't had a chance to I haven't had a chance to get on and read the white paper and dive too much into it. But yeah, I haven't decided if I'm gonna throw any hedron towards it or not. As of right now, I don't think I'm going to. But like I said, once I look at the white paper, that might all change.
Dude, I'm going to pop a fucking Adderall and I'm going to be watching that shit, like just doing shopping, doing some research. I'm going to be watching that shit like a hawk. Like if I find a good, if you saw a good deal, you'd buy it, right? So like that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are there. I think the biggest thing is I don't know if I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna try to stay away from the HSIs with the bonuses that have the 10x, 9x, and so forth. Just because I feel like those ones people are going to be targeting, and so I think the ones to maybe go after might be the ones that don't have any sort of bonus. You might find your least resistant.
Mm. So, but like, part of me thinks now, I'm like questioning myself, like maybe participating in this one would be good, even if you do overpay, if you sell one of them back to the contract, depending on the amount that you have to pay compared to like the dollars if you would, in Hedron kind of thing. Like maybe you are better off doing one right now. Maybe Icosa becomes so rare in the future that like the amount of Icosa you'll get from that stake that you're getting a discount on will be valuable I think you have to do the math.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. You're definitely going to have to run some numbers before just jumping in and bidding on this and that HSI, just trying to get whatever you want, because there's definitely some math that goes behind them. So that way you don't actually end up in a negative buy.
You know what's funny? We could see like higher highs in Hedron the day after like all the big stakes go through, or start seeing a pump afterwards, because if a lot of those stakes go back into the system, well, that means all those stakes are for sale still. And um the prices didn't go up in terms of Hedron. It's probably going to go down. There's a lot of math that you have to do here. This is tough.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going to go into it, depending on how many people are actually going to participate. And like we were saying earlier, how many people are going to sell their HSIs back to the contract. For people that are like people that are going to rebuy theirs, and their plan is to sell it back, but they go to look and sell it back, but yet they're not getting a big chunk of Icosa that they thought they might be getting. Are they not going to sell it now and they just going to hold it? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of numbers, because it might not be worth it. I mean, if you're going to spend money to buy Hedron, or to have this Hedron to spend on these HSIs, is it more worth it for you just to go, and you're trying to get the Icosa? Is it worth it just for you to go and buy the Icosa off the open market, rather than spend your money overpaying for these potential HSI, get less Icosa, if that's your ultimate play?
You know, if you're like, I just wonder like what the rate. I guess I need to look into that more, of like how fast Icosa starts dropping. And I know it ratchets up with share price, but like, you know, the share price went up, I think like a little over like 50-60% over the last year and a half, or something like that. So it's like, does that mean like how much, or like how fast does Icosa ratchet up compared to with the share rate moving up? You know what I'm saying? Like, is every one additional hex, like, is it proportional, or does it ratchet up faster? Like eventually, like if you're selling a stake today and it's a 10, you get 1,000 Icosa from that stake. If the share rate ratchets up 10 hex tomorrow, how much Icosa am I going to get from that same stake?
Yeah, I think a place to look for that would be, what is it, the hexfire.io or whatever, and that, I think they have a really good chart where it actually tracks the share rate, and kind of when we can expect to kind of see rises in it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, for people doing stuff like that, it would be probably good to check that chart out.
Dude, I really doubt I'm going to keep my yield bonus in my Icosa. The Hedron, you're probably fine, because there isn't like, I don't know if like more and more wallets are going to stake Hedron in there. But like Icosa, anybody could come in last second, or like just keep a lot of liquid.
Yeah, the Hero staking pool got God Whale already, but the Icosa staking pool doesn't really have any big wallets like that yet. So everybody's yielding bonuses and stuff like that could 100% still get affected and stuff. Because people still got like 200 some days and whatnot to serve as like sharks and whales. So a lot can still happen.